please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Bass in your face. Bass in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense because on this platform, but not everyone uses logic. I also have another YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora where I discuss issues pertaining to Latinos in the United States. The link to that channel is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Also, the subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes. Meaning, if you are not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you must have been a subscriber for at least the first 5 minutes. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who've already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so already, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to all. So, therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So, as you can see by the thumbnail, the topic for tonight is Woman, You Are Amazing. So, I'm going to be talking about some of the highlight and achievement of some of the women that gain notoriety through the respective fields, being that this is Women's History Month. But before we get into the main topic, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. Now, first of all, before I begin, just want to wish everyone, particularly all those who are Irish or Irish just for today, happy St. Patrick's Day. Okay. For those, some of you who are not familiar, of course, St. Patrick is the patron saint of Ireland. Okay. It is believed that way back in the 5th century, St. Patrick was the one that brought Christianity to Ireland. And one of the things he used to explain the Holy Trinity was the three-leaf clover, okay, which is meant to be a good luck charm, particularly those who are Irish. And of course, it is a day to show pride. Among things, of course, eating corned beef and hash, going to the St. Patrick's Day parade, and then those who decides to consume alcohol. Okay. I am not going to make any judgments because everyone is free to do whatever they wish. My concern is if you're going to consume alcohol, make sure that you don't consume so much alcohol that it impairs your judgment. Okay, and particularly if you're going to uh, do drinking, do not operate a vehicle. Okay, make sure that you grab Uber or Lyft um, to get to get from the bar to your destination safe and sound. Okay, because when you have quite a bit of alcohol, your reflexes are of course reduced, and in order to operate a vehicle, you must be fully alert. Uh, and unfortunately, when you have consumed alcohol, your reflexes are slow and your reaction time is slowed down. It is a okay. It is a fact. And I knew one situation when there was this one person. He went to a bar and he had consumed considerable amount of alcohol. And he came across a member of the opposite sex, and unfortunately, his judgment was impaired due to the consumption of alcohol. And next thing you know, he was engaging in unprotected intercourse with with the woman, and as a result, she became pregnant, and of course, he had to provide child support. So I say all this is just to be mindful of your surroundings, and if you're going to consume alcohol, make sure that you don't consume to the extent that your judgment is impaired. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is life in general. Okay, if we are fortunate and if we maintain a healthy diet and we live, no, um, we abstain from risk behaviors that will imperil our health, we will live to be, 70s or 80s. While that seems like a long time, in the general scheme of things, that is a short time. And being the fact that we have tomorrow is never promised to anybody, we need to make sure that we uh, use each day properly. Okay, and when I mean properly, be mindful of your thoughts and actions. Yesterday we buried my cousin, and he was only 50, 58 years old when he passed away. Apparently, he suffered from dementia, and his health rapidly deteriorated. And those of you who have dealt with loved ones with dementia can fully understand what that goes through. People forget their loved ones. Uh, People remember things that happened years ago, and sometimes people can say nasty things. Um, so it's difficult whenever you see a loved one that you knew that their health has deteriorated to the extent. I say this to say that we should value our time. We should also value the loved ones that we have with us. Okay, because again, and the fact that matters, While some people, they may not want to face it, we all have to face judgment. Um, in fact, in Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27 says that account, all person will die, and then after death will come judgment. And depending how you live your life will determine where you're going to spend eternity. If you have lived your life um, as a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ and live as faithful as possible with, of course, we all make errors and we'll make mistakes. We will spend eternity with God. Of course, our judgment is going to be based on how we use God's gifts and talents to bring other people to Him. And then there's the other type of judgment, which is the great white throne judgment, where if your name was not written in the book of life, you will spend eternity away from God's presence. And spend an eternity regretting all the moments that you had to repent and you didn't do so, thinking you had more time. I say all this is that don't assume anything. Don't assume that you have plenty of time. And in fact, one of the things I do every day when I get up in the morning and pray, I thank God for allowing me to see the light of this day, because literally thousands of people did not wake up alive. And one of the things I like to say is any day, above ground is a better day. In the sense that you are alive and you're able to use your time effectively, use your time wisely. And if you're away from God, you have time to repent and to seek Him with all your heart. And of course, the final thing I'm going to talk about is this Friday is the first day of spring. So when we think about spring, we speak about life, we speak about rebirth. Soon before you know it, the leaves will start to turn green. You will start to see flowers bloom, and of course, the days will continue to get longer and longer until usually by early July, and then after that, the day starts to get short. That starts the cycle of things. And of course, when spring comes, we're thinking about the summer, and we think about all the things we're gonna do. Like go to the beach, have our picnics and things of that nature. But all that is great. Let us not forget to give a little time to God in prayer. So, with that being said, now we're going to get to the topic. Now, before I continue, let me state for the record that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit the link and opine regarding the topic in hand, they may do so. Let me make it perfectly clear. I know I said this at every live, and I will continue to say this. If I never seen you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up on the backstage to make sure that no one tries to flash any adult material, which will cause the people of YouTube to take down the stream. Now, I think you know what I mean by adult material. Basically, any material when it shows genitalia or boobs or butt or what have you. Now, once I determine that you're not going to try that, I'm going to let you on the panel. So what I'm going to do is, let's see. Give me a moment. So, ugh. So we're gonna mention some famous women. Okay. So the first woman that we're gonna highlight, her name is Myra Angelou. Okay. And let me just read her brief um, bio. From her powerful poetry to her moving other othering, I know why the cage bird sings. Excuse me. Mary Angelou forever changed the literary world and opened doors for black authors everywhere. Her love of books started as a child when she struggled with selective mutualism for 5 years. Beyond writing, she is also known as an actor, screenwriter, singer, screenwriter, and civil rights activist. So, now, anybody um, who watched the I Love Lucy series from the 1950s, that's basically people that were born before my time and people from my generation, know Lucy Bell. While she was an undeniable line on screen in I Love Lucy, Lucille Bell was an extremely powerful figure off camera as well. She was the first woman to own her major studio called Desilu Productions. Okay. And of course, now we're going to go into the world of politics. And we're going to talk about Queen Elizabeth II, who served as the head of the royal family for 70 years, making her the longest reigning monarch in British history. She celebrated her platinum jubilee in June 2022, 3 months before she died at 96 years old. So she had a long life. And could you imagine her son waiting all this time to become king? Okay. I don't know if I can wait all that time, but he did. But that's another story. And now we're going to go speak to another person. Her name was Rosa. She became famous in the civil rights movement in the 1950s when she refused to give up her seat on the bus to a white passenger. Her bravery sparked the Montgomery bus boycott and was a major factor in the end of legal segregation. She continued her activism well into her later years before dying at age 92. Well, we have to bear in mind that segregation was alive and unwell in this country for a long time, which meant that black people had to sit in the back of the bus. Black people couldn't eat at certain restaurants. Black people couldn't had to use uh, restroom facilities assigned to them, and they couldn't. And heaven forbid if they were to try to drink from a water fountain that's not designated for black people, under the belief of separate and equal. So now we're going to go into a more recent famous lady, Halle Berry. Okay. Aside from being a talented actor and fashion icon, Uh, I didn't realize she's 59 years old, left a special mark in Hollywood. In 2002, she became the first woman to win the Best Actress Oscar for Monsters Ball. In 2023, she presented the same award to Michelle Yeoh, the second woman of color to ever win the award. Wow. Now we're going to go back to early in the century, and we're going to focus on Emilia Earhart. She was the first female pilot to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. Amelia Earhart forever changed the world of aviation. Her mysterious disappearance while flying over the Pacific in 1937 sparked a range of theories on a potentially fatal crash that was spending her 5 days on a remote island. She passed away in 1939. So, now we're going to go into a millennial famous woman. If I mispronounce some of these names, please forgive me. Okay. So now I'm going to be talking about Michelle Kwan, who's now 45, dominated the ice throughout the 90s, quickly becoming the most decorated figure skater in American history. She represented both the United States and Asian Americans on the world stage, winning 43 championships and 2 Olympic medals. So now we're going to go to the Middle East, and the next woman we're going to highlight. Okay, let's see if I can pronounce her name correctly. Balala Yousaf Yousafzai, who is now 28 years old, was fighting for girls' rights and education in Pakistan as an 11-year-old. After surviving an assassination attempt a few years later, she courageously considered to be a worldwide voice for young women. In 2014, she became the youngest Nobel Peace Prize recipient. Okay. Now we're going to go into the world of theater and motion pictures. Um, the next person we're going to highlight is Rita Moreno, who, believe it or not, she's still alive at age 94. At 94, Rita Moreno is a Hollywood legend. Her singing, dancing, and acting skills shine in classes like Singing in the Rain and West in 1952 and West Side Story in 1961, making her a true triple threat in Hollywood. In 1962, she became the first Latina woman to win an Oscar. 15 years later, Moreno achieved EGOT status, something only 21 people have done. So now we're going to get into the judicial system. We're going to highlight now Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Now she made history of being the first Jewish woman to be appointed to the Supreme Court. Her entire career was highlighted with pivotal moments in American history, consistently standing up for gender equality and civil rights. She helped pass historic rulings on topics ranging from the Affordable Care Act to the legalization of same-sex marriage before her death at age 87. And just to highlight is focusing on some of the achievements that women have made. So now we're going to speak about the Queen of Soul, otherwise known as Aretha Franklin. One of the most angelic voices in history and an 18-time Grammy winner. Aretha popularized the hits like Respect and Say a Little Prayer. In 1987, she became the first female artist to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So now we're going to approach the someone from the world of fashion design, Vera Wang, who is a first generation Chinese American fashion designer, has become one of the most beloved bridal designers of all time. Before launching her own Lauren in 2005, the Council of Fashion Designers of America selected her as the Women's Wear Designer of the Another of science, um, and that person is Marie Curie. She was a scientist genius behind radioactivity and X-rays before we knew them. Not only did she become the first woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize in 1903, she also became the first person ever to win it twice in 1911. So think about it. To win the Nobel Peace, the Nobel Peace Prize one, it's a major achievement. But to win it twice, that's incredible. Let's just take a look. Okay. Okay, so let's. And now we're gonna the next person that we're gonna highlight is from the world of movies, Elizabeth Taylor. Okay, she captivated moviegoers in hits like Cleopatra in 1963 and Something Last Summer in 1959. The two-time Best Actress Oscar winner also be, was also one of the first celebrities to speak openly about the AIDS crisis, creating the Elizabeth Taylor HIV/AIDS Foundation in 1991. Those of us that was alive um, in the 80s and 90s uh, knew how terrible the AIDS crisis was. Um, there was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of fear involved, and people unfortunately labeled it a gay disease until you have men and women becoming infected to HIV. And now we're going to go, the next one we're going to highlight is from the world of tennis. This person is Serena Williams. Okay, at her age, she's currently 44. She served as the face of tennis for years, alongside her sister Venus Williams, and inspired young female athletes around the world. With 23 Grand Slam single titles and 4 Olympic gold medals, she retired in September 2022 as one of the best players to ever step foot on the court. And must have been really inspiring inspiring. So now the next person I'm going to highlight was someone who was born in the late 18th century, and her name is Jane Austen, who changed the course of English literature with her social commentary in 1813's Pride and Prejudice. Interesting enough, she wasn't revealed as the author of the first three novels until her death at age 40. Wow. So now the next person we're gonna highlight comes from the world of space. Oh, her name is Sally Ride. In 1983, Sally Ride became the first American woman to travel to space. She beat out 1,000 other applicants for a spot on NASA's astronaut program and paved the way for many women like Mae Jemison who have followed in her footsteps. So I can just imagine all the challenges she had to go through in order to be a part of the space program. The next person I'm going to highlight it's someone that many of us know, and her name is Oprah Winfrey. From 1986 to 2011, she hosted her own a popular talk show which turned her into an annual media sensation and became the first black woman to become a billionaire. Aside from her successful magazine, TV network, and producing career, the 72 also is an also thing philanthropist and political activist. Okay. So now the next woman we're going to highlight is from the world of sports. And again, if I mispronounce any of these names, please forgive me. The next person we're going to talk about is Rachel Balkovec. At age 38, made history in 2022 when she was named as the first woman to manage an affiliate of a Major League Baseball team. Before the New York Yankees hired her to lead its low A Tampa Top Horns, she worked as the team's minor league hitting coach. So we're talking about a very talented lady, obviously. Now, the next person we're going to talk about is someone that many people love in the 80s and in the 90s was Princess Diana. Okay, who was into the fashion and I had a close bond with her sons, made her a beloved member of the royal family. Okay, excuse me. So let me just go over here. Good evening, April Showers. No apology is necessary. Look, we all make mistakes. No one's perfect. The last time I checked, the only one that's perfect is God Almighty. Okay, and let me just highlight that my friend April Showers have her own channel, so I'm gonna ask that you show some love and support for her, and check out her content and subscribe. So tonight I'm just focusing some of the achievements women have made, being that it is Women's History Month. And I want to illustrate a point that women are not just beautiful ladies that are here to gratify um, the loss of certain males, that that women, given the opportunity, can make great achievements. Can Women can do amazing things, provided they're given the opportunity to do so. So I, I was not bothered by it. We are gonna have a bad day. Of course, Princess Diana, in a sense, is a treasured figure due to the fact that her marriage to Prince Charles ended due to infidelity with the current queen consort. And unfortunately, she met her tragic death at age 36 in a car crash. The highlight comes to the world of country music. Her name is Dolly Parton, who, but I can't believe it. She's 80 years old. I mean, she looks good for 80 years old. Uh, she created a lasting legacy in country music, but talented singer also made a difference upstage as well, from promoting children's literacy to donating $1 million to COVID-19 research. Her philanthropy has helped countless people. Okay. And now the next person we're going to highlight is from the world of cinema, of the movies, namely Catherine Hepburn. Okay, sorry about that. It is no secret that Catherine Hepburn's on-camera work has nothing short of fantastic, but she was always just inspiring in her day-to-day life. She was one of the first actresses to embrace menswear and trousers. Her style choices inspired women at the time not be afraid to wear looks that made them feel comfortable. Interesting. And now we're going to go into the world of music. The next person I'm going to highlight, her name is simply Lizzo. With songs about self-love and body positivity, the 37-year-old music Lizzo has become a beacon of light in the music industry. She also a classically trained flutist, often treating her fans to impressive solos on stage. Now, the next person I'm going to highlight, her name is, and again, if I mispronounce these names, please forgive me, is Chloe Zhao. She's a Chinese filmmaker who has won several awards for her directorial works on indie movies, like Nomadland in 2020. In 2021, the 42 became the second woman and the first woman caller to win the Best Director at the Oscars. Okay. Now, we're going to end. Next one we're going to highlight is from the world of sports. And I'm probably going to mispronounce the first name. Hopefully, it won't be too much. Ipital Mohammed, who is a fencing star, made history in 2016 to become the first Muslim woman wearing a hijab to represent the United States at the Olympics. At the same year, she won a bronze medal and was included in Time's 100 Most Influential People list. And for those of you who are not familiar, is a hijab is a garment that Muslim women wear on their head, and I believe that has to do with uh, being modest. Those of you who follow Islam, if I'm wrong, please correct me. The next person we're going to highlight is from the world of journalism, and her name was Barbara Walters, who was an anchor in such hit programs like 2020, The View, and Today. She was known as one of the most respected TV figures in history, defied the odds, becoming the first female co-anchor of a network evening news program, paving the way for women in journalism. Now here's the next person. I didn't even know that we have female referees, but I just found out tonight. Uh, Sarah Thompson, at age 52, became the first female full-time female NFL official in 2015, and her milestone has inspired women throughout the sports industry. She then became the first female on-field official in a playoff history in 2019. 2 years later, Thomas made history as the first woman to officiate a Super Bowl. Good evening, Gigi. Thank you very much for stopping by. Okay. Um, just let me just highlight the fact that my friend Gigi, just like my friend April Charles, have her own YouTube channel where she produces other content. Of course, a lot of her content has to do with mixed peoples, politics, and her expressing her views regarding various topics. She also has a membership. So I'm going to ask that you show some love, subscribe to the channel, and take advantage of her membership so you can see exclusive content. Okay. And tonight I'm focusing on some of the achievements that women have achieved, that made, being that it is Women's History Month. And the point I'm trying to make is that women can do amazing things if given the opportunity to do so. So now we're going to go to the next woman who in the movies, and her name was Anna Mae Wong. She became the first Asian American movie star. Anna Mae Wong was a groundbreaking talent in every way. She very fought racism and discrimination and starred in over 50 films. In 1960, 1 year before her death at age 56, the actor became the first Asian American woman to receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Is Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. As First Lady, Jacqueline Kennedy transformed the White House by restoring its original elegance and making an effort to procure art and furniture owned by past presidents. She also had a deep knowledge of other cultures and spoke fluent French, Spanish, and Italian, which made it easier for her to bond with citizens and diplomats from other countries. The next woman that I'm going to highlight is Barbara Streisand. Besides her beautiful singing voice and Grammy-winning career, the 83-year-old Barbara Streisand paved the way for Jewish actresses in Hollywood. Her pivotal roles in Yentl in 1983 and Funny Girl in 1968 celebrated her culture in a new way, and in 1984 became the first woman to win Best Director at the Golden globes. Now, the next person that I'm going to highlight is um, a Gen Z person. Her name being Amanda Gorman. At just age 22, poor Amanda Gorman left the nation feeling united and emotional after reading her poem, The Hill We're Climb, at President Joe Biden's inauguration in 2021. 4 years earlier, she was named as the first National Youth Poet Laureate of the United States. Now, Gorman is continuing the use of poetry to create social change. Now, the next person woman I'm gonna highlight was beloved and respected by many. Her being Mother Teresa. Considered one of the world's greatest humanitarians, Mother Teresa dedicated her life to charity work. She received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979 and was posthumously canonized as Saint Teresa of Calcutta in 2016. Now, the next person I'm going to highlight, her name is, and please forgive me if I mispronounce these names, Junko Tabai. In 1975, mountaineering and explorer, she became the first woman to summit Mount Everest. She also became the first woman to complete in the 7 summits, having climbed every tallest mountain in every continent and even survived an avalanche. Now that was amazing. Remember what I said before, women can do amazing things if given the opportunity to do so? And of course, the next person we're going to talk about is Taylor Swift. Breaking a Disney number of records, including becoming the first billionaire primary from songwriting to performing. The 36-year-old Taylor Swift has transformed the music industry and earned 58 Grammy nominations and 14 wins in her career. In 2019, following her controversy over her masters, she announced that she'll be recording her own. Now, the next person lady I'm going to highlight, her name is Ruth Handler, who the co-founder of Nadal. Invented the Barbie doll in 1959. She forever influenced childhood around the world. Fun fact, she named her dolls after her own kids, Barbara and Ken. Now, the next woman I'm going to highlight, a true American hero in every sense. Let me just see. Give me a moment. Abel, I don't know if you want to respond, but if you could, great. If not, don't worry about it. So our next woman I'm going to be talking about is Harriet Tubman. She had led slaves to safety via the Underground Railroad from 1850 to 1860. She made 19 trips from the south to the north to free more than 300 people. She lived a long, remarkable life. She was around at age 93 when she passed away in 1913. So there's a couple more ladies I want to highlight. The next one being Massey Hirono, who served as Lieutenant Governor of Hawaii between 1994 and 2002 on her way to becoming a groundbreaking U.S. Senator. She became the first Asian American and Pacific Islander woman to be sworn into the Senate in 2013, as well as being the chamber's first Buddhist senator. And the 78-year-old Democrat secured her third term after winning re-election in November of 2024. Now, the next person I'm going to highlight, unfortunately, she passed away. Well, she left before her time because she was deleted. I'm talking about Selena Gomez. From her lengthy list of acting credits to her Grammy-nominated music, Selena Gomez has been a role model for young women of all decades. She doesn't shy away from talking about her personal struggles with mental health and lupus. Through her Rare Impact Fund, to increase mental health services for young people. Okay. That was my mistake. Okay. Ugh. Okay, the next who inspired the careers of Tyra Banks, Naomi Campbell, and several others. 66, she became the first woman of color to appear on the cover. 79, she was only 33 years old. The next woman I want to highlight, her name was Susan B. Anthony, who was the co-founder of the National Women's Suffrage Association, fought hard for gender equality and women's right to vote. She never got to see her dream become reality as the 19th Amendment was passed 14 years after her death in 1906. The next woman I'm going to highlight, her name is Michelle Obama, remains the first and only Black First Lady of the United States, serving during the presidency of her husband, Barack Obama, from 2009 to 2017. Her initiatives focus on healthy living and education. In 2018, Obama announced her first major project with the Obama Foundation, the Girls Opportunity Alliance, which aims to empower adolescent girls through education. And I'm just going to highlight a couple more, and that's about it. The next person is Hedy Lamarr, was an Australian-born American actress and inventor. Although she's best known for her work during Hollywood's golden age, she also co-invented a radio guidance system that used frequency hopping technology to communicate during World War II. Lamarr was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame 14 years after her death. She passed away in the year 2000. And the next person we're going to highlight is Toni Morrison. Nearly after a decade after winning a Pulitzer Prize for her best-selling novel, Beloved, Toni Morrison became the first Black woman to receive the Nobel Peace Prize for Literature in 1993. She published a total of 11 novels throughout her career, as well as a collection of plays, short stories, and nonfiction. The next person I'm going to highlight, an ironic movie actor, the 76-year-old Meryl Streep, holds holds the record for most Academy Award nominations. There are 21 total nods, include a whopping 17 nominations for Best Actress and 4 for Best Supporting Actress. She has won 3 Oscars for her roles in Kramer vs. Kramer in 1979, Sophie's Choice in 1982, and The Iron Lady in 2011. And the last Wells, a pioneer in the documented lynchings in the American South. She wrote 2 pamphlets, a record lynching in the United States and Southern Horrors, Lynch Law and All His Phases, and then reported a combined 241 lynchings. Wells was also a sociologist, educator, and early leader in the civil rights movement. So as we can see here, and of course there are many other women that we can highlight uh, regarding their achievement and the successes. But I just want to give you like an idea, okay? And again, as I stated before, women can achieve many things if given the opportunity to do so, okay? Women can achieve many things um, if they have the proper guidance, if they have the proper upbringing, okay? Unfortunately, we're living at a time and age where there's certain males and their lustful desires. And we seem to forget that women, just like men, are made in the image of God, and they should be respected as such. So I don't know if anyone wishes to hit the link and opine regarding the topic at hand. Otherwise, I will stop to wrap this up. Excuse me. But regardless of their pursuits, regardless of the field that they entered, what's common with these ladies that they all became great obstacles in order to achieve the success in their respective fields. And they have to deal with people that tell them that they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that, they're just a woman, they're just the weaker sex, and so on and so forth. But hopefully, you will have a deeper understanding that women can achieve just about anything that they set their minds on, as long as they have the determination, they have the drive, and they have the the drive. Good evening, Don Armando. Thank you very much for stopping by. And of course, my friend Don Armando has his own YouTube channel. So I'm going to ask that you show um, some love, check out his content, and subscribe. Okay. So tonight I've been talking about the achievements that women have made. Okay. Be okay. Let's not go there. Okay. Being the achievement that women have made, because women have achieved a great thing, many great things. Now, now before I go, this one question: will we ever go to live to see um, a woman become president in the White House? Um, I think we will. I don't know if we're going to live to see it, because one thing we have to bear in mind is that there are males that can never see a woman as the chief executive. Okay. Never mind the fact that in many countries where they have women leaders, like for example, in Great Britain, you had Margaret Thatcher. In Germany, you had Angela Merkel. In in Israel, you have Golda Meir. In the Philippines, you have Corazon Aquino. Okay, so um, I think it's, you know what, I think it's gonna happen. But the problem is she's gonna be under a lot of pressure. Okay, and the expectations are gonna be extremely high. It was that way when Kennedy was the first Catholic to become president. It was that way when Obama became the first person of color to be president. So, if it should we get to the point that women become president, there's going to be a great deal of pressure put on her, and there's going to be a great deal of expectations. Okay, now I'm sure that played some wonderful role why Kamala Harris did not become president in 2024. But unfortunately, there are there's certain males that the whole concept of a female chief executive scares them no end. Okay, but we all know, and particularly after tonight, that the women can do amazing things if they have the drive, if they have the discipline, if they have the energy. Okay, and if they have the upbringing. Okay, and the moral compass. So I'm a little bit more optimistic, Gigi, but I don't think I'm going to see it in my lifetime. Maybe you will because you are. Let's keep it real. You're considerably younger than I am. But in any case, I've said all I wanted to say, and I think I illustrated the point. Yes, happy belated birthday on Don Armando. And the fact of the matter is, the reason why we have to have Women History Month is because we need to honor the achievement that women have made. And women have made great strides. Okay. So whenever anyone tells you that you cannot do that, just be mindful of the fact that there's certain people that don't have uh, vision, and they fear people who have the vision, who have a dream. So, being that no one's going to hit that link, I'm going to stop that. I'm going to stop that. Wrap it up. I will be live on Thursday on my other channel called Latina Diaspora, when I'm going to be discussing discipleship, a Christian concept. Normally, I don't discuss it on that channel. I usually discuss it here. It's just that I wanted to make sure that I covered a curtain or something that has related with Christian topics. And of course, let me make this perfectly clear. I always put on this disclaimer. I am not trying to compel anyone to embrace Christianity. No, I'm not trying to compel anyone to embrace Christianity as I understand it. Okay, I get it. No problem. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. But in any case, um, I'm just expressing my beliefs. So all I ask is for those of you who are not into Christianity, is to please to hear me out before you make any judgments. And of course, I'm gonna if you have not done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure you set the bell notifications to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it in playback. And of course, the playback end. Good evening, Georgia. Okay, let me just. I see we have a guest, so let me just state that for the record, the views of those who appear here on the panel, not necessarily those of the host of the channel. Any attempt to copy the content is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to your image. Some of the views people might be considered offensive to some viewers. If you do not like the content, you can block the channel.
Hey, how you doing?
Good evening.
Yeah.
Fine. Long time no see you here.
Yeah, I know, because I was working a job and everything like that, so I couldn't even be like on these YouTube streets. So what's been going on?
Actually, it's quiet now. There was some controversy a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, what was the controversy about?
If
I don't mind asking.
Okay. I was accused by a certain individual,
right,
of blocking people because they don't hold my Christian views. And there was a certain individual that was on Miss Elisa's channel that was making racist remarks about me.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, Miss Ali did absolutely, positively nothing to correct this dude. And this dude in China.
Yeah, I think I saw something about it. I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I saw something like along the lines of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then after I unsubscribed to Miss Elite, she did a live regarding this YouTube person named Crystal Swirls. And then this David Branner person spent 75% of the time calling out for me. And then they were talking about yours truly. So then Gigi and Dreamy got on and talking about how this person was being racist towards me. And it kind of went south. So then she made a community tab complaining about the fact that a live regarding someone else, it became a live focusing regarding me. And then basically I just called her out saying, well, you allowed your guests to spend 75% of the time calling me out.
Yep.
And that every content creator is responsible for everything that happens on their platform. And that if they don't put their chest in check, they're basically in agreement. And then I quoted a verse of scripture which talks about that we're going to be held responsible for every idle word or action that we say or do.
Right.
So as a result, one more thing. I also commented that in my nearly 5 years as a content creator, I've only deleted or privated one video. because I am mindful of what I say or do before I publish.
Right.
So she took down the live, and she also took moved the comment that she made. Interesting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, sure.
So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Babe, just one second. Hey, babe, don't TV super loud. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that, Gigi. I'm just like in new settings right now and everything like that. So, I'm not like at my original settings yet.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he also made the accusation that I bought subs.
Really? I mean, I remember a certain person accused me of that, but who cares?
All I can say is the circus is alive and unwell. Okay. I mean, some people are just plain jealous. It is that simple. I mean, I've already reached to over 2,000 subs, and I didn't have to go naked at doing it.
Congrats.
Thanks. But everything has calmed down. I've been avoiding that sector of YouTube like a bad habit, and I'm so tonight I was just focusing on the achievements that women have made, being that it's Women History Month. So I just gave like a brief summary regarding what women have done in all different areas and different fields. So, um, is someone playing some music in the background? That's why. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm getting ready to okay. So I'm getting ready to end this live. Um, is there anything else you want to say regarding the achievement or women have made either in the chat? Because I know there's some background. That is very true. That is very true. Unfortunately, certain males, and I'm going to say certain males, they see a woman just as a means to satisfy their carnal desires. I agree. I agree. Unfortunately, not everyone thinks that way. So with that being said, is there any other things that you want to add in the comment in the chat before I wrap this up? Okay. Any final remarks to put in the chat? You know what? We could look. We could. I mean, we don't have to agree, but in any case, Donovan, thank you very much for stopping by, and have a good night, and then we'll talk sometime in the future. Yes. All right. So to wrap this up, I would say again, women have made great achievements, and we should honor and recognize the achievements that they made. Okay. And with that being said, I'm going to close the same way that we always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we'll be infected by the stupidity and method insanity. And of course, whenever we say it, we should do for the glory of God. And with that being said, I wish all of you a very wonderful good night. Take care. Thank you very much. And peace.